Thank you for tuning in to my first installment of videos celebrating the 35th anniversary of the venerable Hubble Space Telescope. I'm Mike Keefe, a NASA JPL Solar System Ambassador, and throughout 2025 I'll be making a series of videos about the Hubble Space Telescope as part of the Hubble Night Sky Challenge. So who in the developed world has not heard about the Hubble Space Telescope? The name Hubble and its pictures have become a part of our everyday society. Its images show up in artworks and in our museums. Likenesses show up in books, magazines, and newspapers. Many toys have been built around the Hubble, especially my favorite, some of the Lego toys. We've seen images and its likeness show up on everything from guitars and coins. It has certainly become a staple of some of our fashion, and it even shows up in our movies. But where did the name Hubble come from? Edwin P. Hubble. He was born on November 20th, 1889, and died September 28th, 1953. In terms of his educational background, he received his Bachelor's of Science from the University of Chicago in 1910. At the behest of his father, he went on to study jurisprudence at the University of Oxford. But his true love was astronomy, and he came back and got his PhD from the University of Chicago in 1914. However, World War I was looming, and in 1918 he was a major in the United States Army. But we know him for his astronomical pursuits. He discovered that a certain type of star, a Cepheid variable star, in what was then called the Andromeda Nebula, was actually outside of our own galaxy. He's also known for what we call the Hubble sequence, or this classification of galaxies, which is also known as the Hubble tuning fork diagram. And he also discovered that galaxies that are farther away from us here on Earth are moving away from us at a faster rate. That is known as Hubble's law. I mentioned in the introduction the Hubble Night Sky Challenge. This challenge was developed by NASA and the Astronomical League, a sort of umbrella organization of amateur astronomers in the U.S. The goal of this challenge is to celebrate 35 years of amazing science from the Hubble Space Telescope. Hubble has been bringing the universe to all of us in such fantastic clarity. It's provided us with stunning images of distant and incredible objects. And the groundbreaking science has redefined our understanding of the universe. In terms of the challenge, I'll be imaging 4 or more objects from the provided monthly list. I'll need to complete all 12 monthly lists. As part of this, I'll also be identifying the part of my image that corresponds to the Hubble Space Telescope image. And additionally, I'll be doing at least 4 outreach activities to spread the word about the Hubble Space Telescope mission. Specifically, my outreach will be this YouTube series highlighting different aspects of the Hubble Space Telescope, as well as comparing my images to those taken by Hubble. Alright, so let's get started with the January 2025 objects. M1, the Crab Nebula. This is a supernova remnant that is located in the constellation of Taurus and is estimated to be about 6,500 light-years from Earth. Back in 1054, Chinese astronomers observed a supernova in the night sky, and it has been determined that the Crab Nebula is actually the result of that supernova. My image taken here was taken using my 11-inch Schmidt-Cassegrain telescope, as well as a dedicated astronomy camera. It is comprised of 14 30-second individual exposures, creating a total of a 7-minute exposure. This particular image was shot from Staunton River State Park in Virginia, which is an international dark sky site. All of the images that I'll be sharing with you today were done using electronically assisted astronomy, which basically means I am live stacking or looking at the image live and viewing it and doing real-time edits. There is no post-processing afterwards. So what you see in the picture is actually what I saw on my computer screen without any additional post-processing or touching up. Now, in terms of the actual Hubble image, this particular one is made up of 24 individual exposures that were captured over a series of 3 months. As you can see, the Hubble image has much more definition, much better resolution, better color. It is an absolutely fantastic image, and you can see so much detail in the different filaments that make up the nebula. So up next we've got M42, the Great Orion Nebula. This is a diffuse nebula, a star-forming region, otherwise known as a stellar nursery. It is located in the constellation of Orion and is estimated to be 1,500 light years from Earth. It should be noted that this is the closest star-forming region to our solar system. And my particular image here, taken with the same equipment as with the previous object, my 11-inch telescope, dedicated astronomy camera. This particular image is the combination of 28 20-second exposures totaling 9 minutes and 20 seconds, and was shot from Staunton River State Park in Virginia. What I really love, even with this amateur telescope image, is you can detect this almost kind of three-dimensional view of the gas. It almost looks like someone has kind of taken their hands and kind of just gone in there and scooped out a bunch of this gas and nebulosity. But it is, I just love how clear and how distinct this nebulosity is, and the different colors and illuminations that you can see here. Now, when we look at the Hubble image, equally, in fact, I'd say much more impressive. This is a combination of 520 different exposures, so they used a mosaic, and it's using multiple wavelengths of light, so we're getting a lot more detail. This is predominantly made up of Hubble Space Telescope images, but some ground-based images were used. But again, very similar to my image, but you can see just how three-dimensional and amazing this nebulosity looks. You can kind of tell that it's got this three-dimensional look, and that gas has been blown away by the radiation from this star-forming region and these new stars that have been born. M43, the Mairan Nebula. A lot of people assume that this is actually part of the Orion Nebula, but it's not. It's actually a separate region. In fact, again, also located in Orion, it is about an additional 100 light years distance than the Orion Nebula, making it 1,600 light years from Earth. I used the exact same image that I referenced previously, so same telescope, same exposures, same location, but here is the Hubble Space Telescope image. And this is a composite mosaic, again, lots of different exposures, both made by the Hubble Space Telescope as well as the European Southern Observatory, using all sorts of different filters and trying to get a whole different wavelengths in terms of the light that composes these images. For comparison, the images that I've taken are one single type of exposure, no different filters. They're all the same visible light. So now we have M78. This is a reflection nebula. Now this particular object does not have a common given names like the other objects that we've talked about. This is also located in the constellation of Orion. It is estimated to be 1,600 light years from Earth. This particular image, again, I've taken with my 11-inch telescope and dedicated astronomy camera. Here we have 20 individual 30-second exposures totaling 10 minutes. And this was shot from my house in Apex, North Carolina. It's worth noting that the skies in Apex are somewhat light polluted. We're just outside the city of Raleigh, and this particular object, M78, is also quite dim, but we are able to make out some nebulosity. So we've got some nebulosity around this upper star. You can see, again, some dense nebulosity in the center, We've got some to be some dark lanes of gas, so this is basically darker gas, or gas that's kind of in front of, it's being illuminated in the background, and other spots of nebulosity here as well. Now what we're going to be eventually looking at in terms of the Hubble Space Telescope is this small field of view that is highlighted with this red circle. And so when we superimpose that red circle on this image that was taken by the European Southern Observatory, this one is infrared wavelengths, so we're able to get a lot more detail. Again, you can kind of make out those same sort of dark lanes or dark gas that we had seen in the previous image, as well as the different areas of nebulosity. Again, this image from ESO has much more detail and obviously represents a much longer exposure with much more advanced equipment. Now we're going to zoom in and get the actual Hubble Space Telescope image. Here we go. We've zoomed into that area that was previously highlighted by the red circle. And in this case, Hubble is using its near-infrared camera and was specifically taken to help better understand protostar evolution. So that's the early stages of a star's life. And you can just see some amazing detail here. Lots of wispiness. You have different colors representing different types of gas, and some very, very faint stars, young stars being born. It's an absolutely phenomenal image. Hubble's Variable Nebula, also known as C46, or the 46th item on Caldwell's list. This is a reflection nebula that is located in the constellation of Monocerotis, also known as the Unicorn. It is estimated that this is 2,500 light years from Earth. In terms of my image, we're using the same 11-inch telescope and dedicated astronomy camera. This is 31 individual 15-second exposures, totaling 7 minutes and 45 seconds. And I shot this from the front yard of my house in Apex, North Carolina. Now, in terms of what we're going to be looking at in the Hubble picture, it's a much more zoomed in view than I'm able to get. So when we look at it, here's Hubble's image, an absolutely remarkable image. A lot of people have likened this to kind of a puff of smoke, and almost think of that star as the end of the cigarette and then the smoke coming off of the cigarette. This is just a phenomenal image with just amazing detail. Thank you for watching my video, and if you'd like to stay up to date in terms of when I release the next of the videos in this series, please feel free to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you're kept up to date. Clear skies.